when you diversify also, don't buy something that's almost the same. You have Bitcoin, you'll say that I'll diversify in Ethereum. Then that's mainly almost the same asset class. Proper diversification is you are putting your eggs in different baskets that are totally unrelated, that somehow if Bitcoin doesn't work out, just in case it doesn't work out, you may have either bonds, you may have gold, you may have stocks, which are not related to each other also. People always talk about diversification, that when you diversify your money, it somehow protects you from things that would possibly go wrong. If you put everything in one investment and then that investment falters, if you're not diversified, it could destroy you, it could hit you, it could be something that could be very, very bad for your portfolio. However, there's also a lot of people that over-diversify, and when they over-diversify, it becomes very, very painful in terms of how it would be also for the long term. If you're watching this and at least you don't know yet what is the investment that fits you, you don't know yet what investments you're more comfortable in, the investments that you really like to put in a larger amount of money, then my suggestion is to focus fire. Your goal is to just put in smaller amounts of money and concentrate that into investments that you feel that you are more comfortable in. The time you diversify is when you have already started to earn more from that first business or from that first investment, and you just want to de-risk. You want to remove the ability also, or the notion that since this is already grown bits and pieces already for you, then maybe you could start to take it off. You could take out some risk and putting it in an investment already that's relatively different to your initial investment, because people fall into this trap that they haven't really maximized their first investment yet. They really haven't maximized the investment that is supposed to bring them life-changing gains, but they already start to diversify. Don't diversify yet. Only diversify when you feel that you've already exhausted a lot of the upside that you have on this first investment. And that first investment could be a business that you've started. That first investment could be real estate. That first investment could be the stock market, or it could be the crypto market. Because the problem is, if you split everything already at the start, you won't be able to build something that allows you to become good at something. Now, here's the thing. What if when you start concentrating your capital, it doesn't really work out for you? It doesn't really go the way you want it to go. Instead of earning, you start losing. And then since everything is in one place, it hits your portfolio a lot. There also has to be a point where you start to pivot. There also has to come a point where you start to shift and you realize that, hey, I've been doing this for 1 year. I've been doing this for 2 years. I tried to also change my strategy in this particular asset and it's not actually working. Then that's when you start maybe looking at what investment would be actually good for you. And that's when you start also trying to figure out, okay, this investment is not actually working. I'll try to shift into another one, and then you try to master that. But at least what's good about that is the first investment that you tried, you realize that, hey, this is not working already. And you already have sample data, sample size that since it's not working already for you, you can already make something that you think will work for you later on. Once your money starts getting bigger, you already know that I don't need to put money there anymore because it's not really working for me. So you keep trying and trying and trying until you find an investment that works the most, that makes it a good sweet spot for you. And once it starts to happen, that's when you start adding, that's when you start pushing, and that's when you start double downing on it. And once it starts getting bigger, you start to diversify. Do not diversify early on when you're just starting out. You are just putting in also a smaller amount of money. It's better when you're starting to focus fire and just put it into something that's bigger. Now, when do you realize that you've already maximized and exhausted it? One of the things that I do is I check, am I a bit scared already that this entire concentration of money in just one asset, if this collapses entirely, will this something that will severely hurt me? Or am I uneasy? Or am I scared? Or am I at some point this is something that makes me uncomfortable already? If the answer to that is, okay, I feel already uncomfortable, then maybe that's a time already that you start to diversify. When you feel already it's big, that you're not comfortable with that position, then that's when you diversify. You diversify to something that's an opposite of what you're currently investing on. Meaning, if you're fully into stocks, then maybe go to real estate. If you're fully into stocks, maybe go into bonds. If you're fully into stocks, maybe preserve and have more cash also. Again, cash may not really earn as much for you. It may not really be as good, but it's a good opposite. It's a good hedge. It's a good diversification play. You diversify from the context of if this main asset class underperforms, doesn't do well, collapses, you have another asset class that's doing the opposite, doing something different, that can somehow also protect you over and over for the long term. And that's something that's very, very important that people need to realize. When you diversify also, don't buy something that's almost the same. You have Bitcoin, you'll say that I'll diversify in Ethereum. Then that's mainly almost the same asset class. Proper diversification is you are putting your eggs in different baskets that are totally unrelated, that somehow if Bitcoin doesn't work out, just in case it doesn't work out, you may have either bonds, you may have gold, you may have stocks, which are not related to each other also. You can also diversify via geography. If your goal and your narrative is, okay, I want to focus on Philippine stocks, and then you want to be diversified in the stock market still, maybe another approach that you could actually do is invest in stocks on a different geographical location or that are in different sectors as well. So for example, you own maybe Jollibee stocks, maybe Ayala Land stocks. It won't really hurt you, or it won't really change the way you do things if you buy Apple stock or if you buy Google stock. They are really not connected to each other. I'm not against diversification. I'm a big fan of diversification. You need to diversify. You need to protect your base. You need to protect what you have. However, it has to come to the point that there has to be proper context to everything. Context is everything. The more you realize that early on, the better it will be for you. So maybe a rule of thumb also is this, just to put this in a matter of age. You're younger, smaller capital, focus FIRE. If you're older, larger capital, larger base, nearing retirement, then you start to diversify already. So maybe those are just rule of thumbs. Those are not things that apply to everybody. You have to make it relate to your entire context. But I hope that this was something that helped you also and gave you value into all of this. So there. Lastly, assets you can diversify in: bonds, cash, different currencies. When I say cash, it can be US dollar, it could be pound, it could be euro, it could be also the peso, stocks, real estate, different types of businesses also that you already know, that you've already studied, cryptocurrencies. And when you go to cryptocurrency, that could be Bitcoin, or it could also be altcoins. Assets are things that if you hold it for the long term, or if you have the right conviction towards it, they have the ability, they have the potential to go up in value. It doesn't mean that they're not going to go down, but they have a potential. Please do remember the main difference between assets and liabilities is that if you buy a liability, for sure, over the next few years, it's gonna lose value. For assets, there's a chance that it loses value, but there's also a bigger chance that they may gain value as well. So when you're starting, focus FIRE. As your portfolio gets bigger, distribute it. So that's it for now. Marvingermo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.